Well, we'll now hear from Dale Gibboney as we continue to get to know each candidate running for Kootenai County Commissioner Seat 1. Please introduce yourself and explain why you're running for this office.
Well, my name is Dale Gibboney, and I'm running because I have grandchildren here in Post Falls that are going to school. They're going to grow up and live here. I'd like to preserve this way of life that we have now. And the way things are going, it's not good with its out of control growth. So I want to try to do something to preserve the way of life here in North Idaho, not only for my grandchildren, but for all the people that live here. I'm endorsed by the Kootenai County Deputy Sheriff's Association, their FOP, the Coeur d'Alene Flyers out at the airport, and the Fernan Gun Club. Now, these people endorse me, and it's important to know that they've vetted me, they know me, they trust me, and that's why I have their endorsement, and none of the other candidates do. So.
All right. Well, we'll get into some questions, and you've got 2 minutes for each question.
Okay.
Name one thing the county commission could do to improve the quality of life in Kootenai County, and explain how you'd work to implement that.
Well, I think the number one thing is going to be the growth. The growth is pushing everything right now, and it's out of control. It's going to increase our taxes. It's going to make this a horrible place to live, because I've seen what happens with uncontrolled growth, and that needs to be taken care of. One of the ways to do it is we have to get the mayors and the city councils on the same page, because it seems like right now that the mayors, city councils, and the developers have never seen a piece of vacant land that they wouldn't like to put an apartment building on. And without the infrastructure for that, things will just deteriorate. It'll go downhill. The traffic will be uncontrollable, and it'll take you, what used to take you 15-minute drive will now be a 30-minute to 45-minute drive. So something needs to be done, and they have to realize that and stop this. And the growth has to start paying for itself.
You know, this is a primary election, and in primary election races, members of the same party are running against each other for the same seat, and people might think, well, maybe there's not a lot of difference between the candidates, but what are some differences between yourself as a candidate and your opponents?
Well, first of all, I know all the other candidates. I've had lunch with them, coffee with them. They're all good guys. I can't say anything bad about them, but I will criticize their policies, because that's going to be bad for the county, especially the former commissioner, Mark Eberlein, who's running. He decimated the county last time. He wants to cut spending, and he did that so bad that the sheriff's department was down to where they're barely able to function. And 6 years after he left office, they're still just now getting back up to where they should be. So it's important that you say you want to cut spending, but you look in the budget and where are you going to cut it? That is not the place to save money. It hurts the county. It costs the taxpayers millions of dollars when they cut the funding that much for the different departments, and that needs to stop. You need to function. You need to pay them the amount of money they need to run the department, and not a penny more, but what they need. That's important, because it costs the taxpayers millions of dollars in either lawsuits or in training when they lost all their deputies. It cost $3.5 million. So how much was saved by cutting the salaries of the employees at the sheriff's department?
Well, and the last question, you've already mentioned it a little bit. You know, growth in Kootenai County is a huge issue that people talk about a lot. You mentioned a little bit about it, but if elected, what would you do specifically? What are some of the things that you would try to do specifically to manage growth?
Well, the past board cut communications with the cities and the mayors and the council. This board, commissioners, has brought it back, and that needs to continue. We need to get the cities and the mayors and the county all on the same page on a comp plan of what they want to do. If we don't, we're not going to survive this. We'll turn this into a Seattle or a Southern California, and we need to make sure that they have a plan. What do they want this place to look like in 15 years from now? So there's going to be some things that the state legislators need to do also. This growth needs to start paying for itself. And they've got regulations now in the state that will not allow us to collect impact fees, that will not allow us to charge any other fees that could help relieve the taxpayer, because right now it's all going on to the property tax owner to pay these bills, and that's not right. So it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of cooperation, but if everybody wants to work toward the same objective, we can get it done.
All right, appreciate that. Well, just to close, what are some of your final thoughts in a minute or so that you'd like to leave with the voters of Kootenai County as to why they should vote for you?
Well, my experience, and if you've seen my my website, daleforcommissioner.com, it shows you some of my previous experience. I was a policeman in Los Angeles for 12 years. I flew helicopters there for 7 out of those 12 years. I was a chief pilot. I wrote the policy manual for training at the division. I managed the recurrent training for 35 of the line pilots. After I left law enforcement, I got into corporate aviation and ended up working for Time Warner in their flight department. Became the chief pilot there, where I managed 18 pilots and flight attendants. And I wrote the policy manual there for the employees at that Burbank base. And also we had a budget there for training that was, in today's dollars, about $1.2 million. So I managed that, and I think that gives me plenty of experience to be a county commissioner here.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming down and spending the time, and hopefully the voters will get to know you a little better.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.